Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Mark Human and I'm a director and trainer at ACT Personal Safety. ACT is the leading service provider for personal safety. I will be your webinar host for today. This afternoon we'll be talking about 3 things every runner ought to know about their personal safety. Our presenter, Kelee Arrowsmith, left the corporate world more than 10 years ago to start ACT Personal Safety. She does corporate and private workshops that focus on changing the way people think about our safety. Unfortunately, our special guest, Kim Stevens, has had a personal emergency and cannot join us today. But we have a surprise guest, Jamo Davies, who is a trail runner and a trail sweeper. Just a little housekeeping before we start. If you're experiencing any issues with the download, simply download the Zoom app on your computer or phone and rejoin the meeting through the app. The app is optimized and makes webinar run much smoother. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the question box in your control panel. I'll bring them up during the presentation and we'll also have time for questions at the end. Now with no further ado, over to Kelee and Jamo.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate the introduction. It's great to be speaking with all of you today. The reason we decided to do this webinar is there's a lot of runners that have been contacting us that have been in attacks or have been the victim of a mugging or something like that. And I met a very interesting lady called Kim Stevens. She's a runner and she also is a writer. And she wrote a fantastic article on runners who have been attacked, and it's pretty much all over the country. She interviewed them, so it's real information, and they're going to publish it in the next issue of Modern Athlete. So unfortunately, as Mark said, Kim is unable to make it due to her personal circumstances today, but we're lucky to have Jamo. And so Jamo, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been trail running for the last 7 years now, and been up and down all the mountains around Cape Town. Sadly, I've been mugged on the mountains. This happened about 5 years ago above Eastport. 3 guys came running up behind me, and I thought it was fast. The runners stepped to the side. They tackled me into the bush and then proceeded to mug me with knives. Luckily, I wasn't injured. They took everything except my shorts, shirt, and buff, and then proceeded to hog tie me with wire, and I was left on the mountain.
So did they bring their own wire, or did they find it?
They had the wire with them. They were prepared.
Wow. So they planned it beforehand.
They planned so I couldn't get off the mountain and seek help.
Okay. They must have been very traumatic.
The tying up was the worst. So once I wasn't hurt, it was fine. But being left on the side of the mountain, hog tied like that, the bruises that were left as well, because the wire was so tight.
How long did it take you to get out?
I'm not aware of time. Half an hour. It's lucky to stay calm and work the wire. I managed to get one hand free, get that between my legs, and then work the other wire around my feet, got that free, and then walk down the mountain.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You said a couple of times you were mugged.
So I've been mugged before in Cape Town on the city streets. That time I was with a friend. 4 guys came up behind us. My mate ran off down the road. One chased him. I turned around, grabbed the one guy by the throat, the other guy by the wrist. And luckily, the 3rd guy just came and put the blade by my throat. So I let go of the other 2, and then they took my possessions.
Okay. And nobody was hurt that time?
Nobody was hurt that time. Very lucky to be able to walk away.
So a lot of the runners are experiencing, muggings and attacks and stabbings and stuff on the mountains. And when Kim got a hold of me, she'd written this article, and basically she said to me, so I just need to end the article on a positive note. Do you think runners should carry pepper spray or stun guns? And my reply to her was, well, neither, because they're both useless. It's, just having pepper spray and not understanding when you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, when will you actually push the button? So she came in, we had a long discussion, and we came up with this webinar, and it's really about three things. And the first thing, Jamo, is community. So running community has changed a lot over the past year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So there's a lot of running groups that have started up in our area. Trail Dogs is one that has started up, runs from Musenberg. They're going every other day up the mountains, and then people getting into that group and running safety in numbers. The other option is the Hikers Network, Safety Mountain. You go onto their website, sign up a form, and then you SMS or WhatsApp your details of route you're going to be on and the time expected. And once you start, and then you WhatsApp them again when you've finished. If you don't WhatsApp them when you come off the mountain or something has happened, they try to get hold of you, and then they know which area you were in, and then that's where Mountain Rescue or Safety Mountain will go looking for you.
Okay, that's excellent. So, and what we're finding is quite interesting, where running groups are having training sessions together, and they're actually developing strategies. So we go in and we do a training. We go, who's running in the front, who's running in the back, what's your warning word? You have to decide up front what you're going to do, because, everybody goes into fight or flight, and that's how people get hurt. When you freeze and the guy's insisting that you give him something, and the person's just looking, because that's a very common thing, and you've experienced it. If one person starts screaming or one person does the wrong thing, then you find that the attacker, who's already probably high on drugs and quite aggressive, that's when people get stabbed. So the groups, the communities are starting to, just as the bad guys plan their attacks on runners, they're starting to plan their strategies around runner safety. So it's really great. I think, I'm excited about the communities. The second thing that I think is quite important is tools. And as Kim mentioned, and a lot of people, I can't tell you how many people bought pepper gas for Christmas. So a runner or a runner's spouse buys her or him pepper gas, and then they all excited about the pepper gas, and then they take the pepper gas with the first time, and then it kind of becomes a pain, and they don't really understand it. I mean, what's the reaction to pepper gas? What's going to happen?
Well, that's it. If I had bought it for Kaki or for myself, I would carry it for a while. I have to work out where to carry it, but I wouldn't know the right time to use it if I had to use it or just to get away. So I would need training from somebody to show me when and how to use it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think, tools are very important. And there's tools like a stun gun, which you obviously know you have to take it out. So it's all about the pre-planning, and it's about thinking about it beforehand. And with a stun gun, you actually have to make contact with the person. And I don't know if you have to think that through before you do it. Pepper spray obviously gives you a lot more distance, but when you push the button, and as I said, what's his reaction and what are the legal implications? And so that stops a lot of people because, or they just plain say, I don't want to, because what will happen is I'll just go to jail. It's quite important that you think about the tool that you're going to use. And so the third thing about runner safety is the real training. The training is exceptionally important because you have to understand all of those things. So what is the reaction when you spray someone? And it varies. So I might spray Mark and he drops to the ground. I might spray you and you're holding your breath, and so you have a few seconds. So do I spray and then what do I do? So training for runners is, they have to kind of think about it within the running context. So where am I running? So just you plan. Runners plan their practice runs. They plan their. So tell me a little bit about the planning that you guys go through for your trail runs.
So I'd look if I need to do distance or elevation, and then work out the best route for that. And then normally, like I said, safety mountain, I'd let know, car key, another family member, and then I'd let them know when I come off. But if something were to happen to me, I haven't done enough thinking what I should be doing. Escape routes, safest route down the mountain from there. I've sort of taken it as granted because of my knowledge of the mountain. But it's definitely something I need to give more thought to.
Okay. So there's a new tool called Run Angel. Well, I don't know if it's so new. But it's quite an interesting tool. Very pretty box that it comes in. And what I find interesting about it is that it is a panic button that is not a watch. So normally, if you run with your watch, it's one of the things that they're going to take. Okay, this is just a simple panic button, makes a heck of a noise, and it hooks up to your phone. So, and it's not like you have to take your phone out and try and start your app and then push the panic button. It's something that you can do kind of on the quiet, and you can actually do a quiet, it's got a quiet setting. So the silent panic, the panic will then send your information to the people that you have on your phone, and it works via your phone. So it works via Bluetooth. Again, it's a tool, it's a part of your layers. And you really have to plan how you're going to use it. So when are you going to push the button? I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm saying a runner needs to think about these things. They've got to think about, when am I going to use this tool?
Well, it would be, for me, when the attack is imminent. So not just a threat, but I know the attack's going to take place. That's my thinking.
For the panic button, I would use it much more proactive. Okay. So I would use it maybe loud when he's still at quite a distance, once I've established in my mind that he's a bad guy. Okay, so as Capetonians, and I don't know if we've got people from other places, but as Capetonians, we're very polite and very kind, and we're brought up to be very sweet, and, well, most of us. And the problem is you don't want to offend anyone. So if I push my panic button, will you be offended? And we need to also start changing that. My safety is much more important than you being offended, quite frankly. I don't think. Okay, so I would push the panic button proactively when I was really thought something was wrong.
Well, it's a lot easier conversation to have pressing the panic button early and nothing happening and just explaining it, and rather having somebody have to explain.
Waiting until it's imminent and there with the knife and you can't push it. Okay, but you will be able to push the silent one. So it's not going to defend you, it's not going to protect you. But if you really think about it and plan it as one of your safety layers, I think it's a very nice tool. So they are very kindly offering a 100 Rand off on the, let me just see if I can get it up here on the screen, if anybody's interested. And if I knew how to work this would be great. Oops, there we go. And somewhere I can share my screen. I've practiced this, yes. Look at that. Okay, you should be able to see the special offer. They come in pretty colors. It's 100 Rand off on the Run Angel. You simply go to werunonline.coza and you use the discount code SAFETY when you go to the checkout.
Will you have this up on your Facebook page? Right?
Yes, I'm going to put this on the Facebook page. So I'm going to stop the sharing.
And we're back.
And we're back.
There's another tool you have here that you haven't shown.
Yes. Okay, this is the Vicious Kit. she's actually becoming quite famous, and we use a clear one for runners, and most people don't like people to see that they have a tool. And it's a very effective tool actually for controlling distance. So I believe that controlling distance is the key to physical safety. I don't think you want to try and block a knife. I don't think you want to, try and trick the person with a knife or a weapon. And so I think being able to control distance, keep them away with a tool like this, or a pen, or a knife, or whatever. But it's quite difficult to take it away from you.
And it's like you wouldn't have any problem running with this, traveling with this. Where is one able to get this?
Oh, you can get them from us.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be on our Facebook page. But I think that, thanks for that. Let's think about planning a run and including safety. Most people plan everything in their day. You didn't plan to come here. It was just a surprise. But you've planned your run. You've planned your meals. You've planned what you're doing tonight. But when you go running, you don't actually plan your safety. The only plan you make is you hope that somebody from mountain safety is going to save you.
Yes.
Okay. The problem is, in the moment when it's happening, there's nobody. You are on your own. And that's when we have to start planning. We have to start planning on learning how to recognize bad guys. So, obviously bad guys could look like anyone. A lot of the bad guys are well dressed. They arrive, the people don't expect them to be bad guys at all. They think they're runners. They even dress as runners. So, but there are things we can do. We can test to see what their intention is.
Okay.
Address them first. Hi, can I help you? Hi, it's a wonderful run. And step back and see what they do. And if they don't act in a way that would be normal, that you and I would act in, push a panic button. Or implement your plan, your safety plan. So having a safety plan is extremely important. And it's part of the training, But you don't actually, you can think about it. So what can you do to change the way you think about your safety?
So I'd look at getting one of these run angels and have that on my person. It's a great way. That first threat, as you spoke about, you can hit the panic button, let everybody know that you're threatened, gauge off that. And then once I'm in the clear and it wasn't a threat, I can let car people, my people,
very easy to
let them know, guys, false alarm, fine. So rather do it that way. And then look at carrying the vicious kitty and running with that. And then hopefully getting some training so with the pepper spray and with the stun gun, when to use it, how to use it, legal implications of using it.
So the stun gun, really, the thing about it is, I don't know if you ever get to shock anyone because it's too close. Okay. So if I have a stun gun and you have a knife, you're going to win. But it's nice for fright value, psychological value. So I'm just going to push the button so you can see what it does. Can I shock you?
No.
So it makes a big noise, but anybody who's been shocked, and I get shocked every time I do a seminar, okay? If Mark's getting shocked and shocking.
You're doing one now, I can shock you.
You'll see that basically what happens is the muscle contracts and pulls away from the electricity. But it doesn't do any damage. It feels like a pinprick, like somebody stuck a pin into you. So, it's something I might use. It's quite heavy to carry, but it's something I might use in my car when I'm going to a running event, where I would push it. If somebody approaches, I would push it and show my intent. And if they didn't run away, then I would resort to Plan B, which I think is an excellent tool. Because pepper spray, and you need to think about stream if you're outside, not fog. Fog is very good if you're indoors, like if you're going to use it to get to your panic room or your safe room or whatever you want to call it. because it's a fog and it doesn't work very well outdoors. Stream, you can probably hit 15 feet with it, or 3 meters quite easily. So, I would go stop, and if he doesn't stop, he's got bad intent. And that's a good time to use it. Okay. So, but there's a lot more to it. But it's not, it won't kill anyone. It makes everything burn and run for about half an hour, and then it's over. And by that time, you're gone.
Gives you time to get away.
Yeah. But as I said, without proper training, people hesitate, and that's the problem. Fight or flight is a very scary thing. People imagine that they're going to do things until they get until that gun gets stuck in your face or the knife gets stuck in your throat, and then you freeze.
So saying I've come across is you don't rise to the occasion, you fall back to your level of training.
Yeah, that's a big one. You use it as a runner.
Running, and then having worked and the training that I do with NDW, Multi-Dimensional Warrior, that training I hope to fall back on if ever needed.
Okay, fantastic. I see we've got some questions. So I'm going to ask Mark to come back. Thank you very much, Gemma. And thanks for coming in at such short notice and for the excellent information. And I hope you never get mugged again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Okay.
Hi, I'm back. Jamo, if there's anything relevant over there, we may call you back in for any questions there. So.
Okay, so we've got some questions. Okay, thanks, Alice.
This wanted us to shock you.
People are going, shock him.
I'm shocked, Mark.
You really want to shock me?
No, shock Mark.
I know you will. Okay, I'll show you because Jamo doesn't believe me. Okay, turn it on.
Yeah.
Push the Am I going to shock you? Stand up.
No, don't shock me.
Stand up.
You
Okay.
shock me.
Yeah, I'm going to shock you. But lift your leg up a little.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Ready?
Oh, yeah. I must buzz there. Like Kelee says, it's not like in the movies when you pass out when you get shocked, your muscle just contracts and you pull away.
That was very brave.
Thank you.
He's never been shocked before. It's normally me. Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. I think that's it.
Maybe I could just mention one thing on the pepper gas that we're speaking about, because everyone says pepper gas is a great tool, and I agree it's a great tool, but you really have to understand the advantages and limitations. Kelee spoke about it being a stream, and that coming out as a stream, if you use the fog on the mountain and it's a windy day, you spray yourself as well, and all the guests and all the runners and everyone else. It's nice if you're dealing with multiple opponents, but you're going to stand a chance of getting sprayed there. We get a lot of reaction from this, and generally it gives you time. But if you have someone that's in attack mode coming at you and you spray him, it's going to disrupt him, but it's not always going to stop the attack. This is why it's important to link training with that, because you may disrupt him, you may hold his eyes, but he may continue trying to stab. And you need to learn how to say, all right, I sprayed this guy, he's still coming, he's disrupted, but he's still got the intent, he's not running away. And we get different reactions from this. Some people just run, some people actually, they are going to their fight or flight. And when you spray him, he starts fighting. He can't see what's happening so clearly, but he may continue the attack. And that's why it's important to continue with the training.
Okay, so we've got, excellent question. So how many times can you use pepper gas, your pepper gas? You can answer that.
Okay.
I see you dying.
Yeah, I enjoy pepper gas. You can spray it on the fry if you want, but that's not the intention after your run. The police do that sometimes, but the pepper gas, a can like this, you should get a good 15 to 20 sprays out of it. The point is, when you spray this, you don't use it consistently and spray like a consistent stream, because if someone covers up there, you're going to miss them. So you're going to spray in what we call short bursts, either in a Zorro pattern, like a
Z, yeah.
like a Z, or an X, and your sprays 1001, 1002. That way you don't run out of pepper gas before the fight's finished if people come. So if you just go spray, 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 and somebody covers up, when he opens up again, you want to spray him and you're out of pepper gas. So you're going to spray it in short bursts, and you should get 15 to 20 good bursts out of this.
And you definitely should test your pepper gas. You should never trust the pepper gas. Pepper gas, it's got an expiry date on the can. The actual chili peppers inside the gas doesn't expire, but the propellant in the can does expire.
Especially in hot environments.
Yeah, so if you leave it in the car, which I do, because that's one of the places I would need pepper gas, I would replace it after about a year or two, but test it. Just take it out the car and give your friendly
fellow runner
neighbor or a tree, just test it to make sure that there's still propellant in it. So thank you, that's a very good question. So if there are no more questions, we're going to wrap up. Feel free to send us any other questions. You can just pop them onto Facebook. This recording will be posted onto our training site, and we will put it up. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. It was really great. Mark, would you like to wrap up?
I'd like to wrap up. Thank you for everyone joining us. This was our first webinar. We had a bit of problems with our initial platform, getting guys on board, so we transferred to Zoom. It seems like it worked pretty well. We'll get more on board with that. Jamo, thank you for coming in at the last moment.
Thank you very much, Jamo.
And if you found some value in what we did today, or at least the idea was to get you to start thinking about your safety, please give us some feedback from there and link to us for the training side of things. So thank you very much.
And to all the people that signed on to the other platform and were upset or disappointed, I humbly apologize. If you write me a letter, an email, I will send you complimentary training to the pepper gas training. But I will know who you are because I've got a list of the people that signed up. But I'm really, really sorry. We did test it, and it was only this morning when we logged on 6 hours before the time to check that we noticed that it said that it had expired. I'm going to have to try and address it with the people. Thanks for bearing with us. Thanks a lot for joining us, and stay safe.
Take care.